I was just the secretary until the CEO's world and my heart turned upside down. I woke up inside a CEO romance novel, yes, actually inside it, as the CEO's female secretary. Not even the heroine, just a supporting character. My name is Angela Keller. Strictly speaking, I didn't transmigrate into a book. I simply realized that my world is one. And not just any book. A dramatic, messy, dog-blood angstfest titled After the Madam Left, President Jones Entered the Wife-Chasing Crematorium. The male lead of this story is my boss, Jason Criss. When he was young, he was saved by the real heroine, Susan Clark. But he mistakenly believed his savior was her younger sister, Rachel Clark. Later, Rachel got into a car accident, and all the evidence pointed towards Susan. Jason, being the ever-dramatic CEO, threw Susan into prison. After she was released, the two of them kept hurting each other, until eventually Jason discovered the truth, regretted everything, and entered the classic, hellish wife-chasing crematorium, which, of course, worked in the end. Why do I believe such a melodramatic plot? Because everything in real life matches the book perfectly. Jason genuinely dislikes his own wife, Susan. The one he cares for is actually Rachel. And yes, he truly did send Susan to prison. As for me, the plot has absolutely nothing to do with my character. I am a tiny supporting role who was supposed to appear for a few early chapters, one of the crowd mocking the heroine for loving the male lead. Except, there's a problem now. The story has a bug. I don't mock the heroine. I don't pine after Jason. Instead, I've fallen for someone completely different. Chris Jones, Jason's all-purpose 24/7 assistant and bodyguard. That man silently standing behind every overbearing CEO. Why him? Because despite his strangers keep out expression, his ruthless efficiency, and the cold aura he copies from Jason, he's secretly the cutest thing alive. If he says one sentence to me, his ears turn pink. If our hands brush, he freezes like a malfunctioning robot, eyes glazed, stuttering like a shy schoolboy. Textbook pure, soft-hearted boy behavior. I'm almost positive he likes me too. The book claims he's cold and emotionless, but to me, Angela, he's anything but. Sisters, I've decided I'm going to chase love. Yeah, I was too naive. We've already reached the part where Susan escapes after being released. Jason hears the news and explodes in shame-filled rage. "You damned woman, you dare run!" He immediately orders Chris to bring her back. Now I can't even see Chris anywhere. Jason himself is in the office pretending to work, but honestly, I see zero signs of secret love toward the heroine. Scumbag. I sit in my chair, tapping random keys, humming out of boredom. Nobody dares disturb Jason. Anyone who goes inside comes out crying. So in love, but still clueless. I miss my little Chris. Is he hungry? Has he eaten? Has he caught the heroine yet? Staring at my phone, a bold idea hits me. I open WeChat and find our chat, still stuck on, "I've accepted your friend request. We can start chatting now." What should I send? Hi? Hello? Cringe. Assistant Jones? Have you eaten? Why does my brain only produce the word eat? Help. I rewrite drafts again and again, completely unaware that on the other side, Chris keeps seeing, "The other party is typing." He's so nervous he's about to cry. My phone suddenly lags. I tap wildly and accidentally hit video call. Before I can hang up, the call connects. Assistant Jones, good. I give a stiff little wave. "Good morning." "It's noon," my brain screams. I want to strangle myself. Chris appears in his black suit, eyes cool and unreadable, lips pressed tight. His eyes look red-socked. Jason probably isn't letting him rest. Serves him right to become a future wife-chasing crematorium candidate. Somewhere in his office, Jason sneezes. Chris glances at me, then quickly averts his eyes. He seems lost, confused, and his ears are visibly red. My kryptonite. I must be smiling like an idiot, because the moment he sees my expression, he panics and instantly hangs up. Meanwhile, on his side, he's hugging his phone, cold mask barely holding together. He props a hand on his forehead and actually laughs. Angela is just too adorable. His fatigue melts away. He looks at the call log, almost 5 minutes, and quietly takes a screenshot. His first video call with me. In his gallery, he also has a screenshot from when I added him on WeChat. He didn't even use WeChat before. He registered on the spot just so he could accept my request. He only has me added, just me, and that's enough for him. There's also a photo of us eating together from a company dinner where we accidentally sat side by side, and a picture of the coffee I gave him. Yes, I gave one to every employee. Survival skills. He stares at the photos smiling. Then his expression grows a bit painful. We should have more. So many more. Careful, young man, your thoughts are getting dangerous. Back on my side, I'm bewildered. The only explanation, Chris must have been stunned by my beauty. Sigh, what a cutie. I'm starting to realize he's trying hard to maintain his cold machine persona, but he has no idea how badly he's failing. His ears and mouth always betray him. The next day, I'm still your diligent corporate drone, but something is different. There's a show to watch. The heroine has been caught and brought back. From my perfect viewing angle, I watch Chris lead a slow-moving woman behind him. That's Susan. Her head is down, face pale as paper. Even under layers of clothing, you can tell how thin she's become. 3 years in prison can crush a woman's dignity and love into dust. Her eyes are lifeless. She walks like the dead. What? You're surprised I suddenly became poetic? Don't be. I stole those descriptions straight from the book. Not plagiarism, right? Honestly, my eyes are only on Chris. I stare so much that he starts walking arms and legs in sync, but refuses to look my way. Fine. For his character setting, I pretend not to look. They reach Jason's office. Chris steps aside and gestures politely. Madam, the boss is waiting for you inside. He's cold, expressionless, the icy robot the book described. He's like this with everyone. A tiny flicker appears in Susan's dead eyes. She looks at him, desperate. Assistant Jones, why? She begged him to let her go, yet here she is again. This place is no different from prison, except behind that door is a man even more terrifying. My heart aches for her, but Chris doesn't even blink. Madam, I'm only following orders. I get it. Jason is the type of boss who sends employees to Africa for the slightest mistake, and Chris's character is known for loyalty, but I'm still mad at him. So I go to the restroom to cool off, also because yesterday's hot pot upset my stomach. But the moment I enter, Chris follows me, only stopping when he realized I went into the ladies' room. Women come and go from here all day long, but now, silence. Because the boss's assistant is standing guard outside like a statue. Inside, I'm confused. Meanwhile, Chris is panicking. He's spinning in circles in his head. Angela was angry, right? Her cheeks puffed up. Books say girls get angry from jealousy. Is she jealous because I stood too close to the madam? Books also say to cozy a girl, food, movies, gifts. What gifts does Angela like? I finish washing my hands and step out, only to see Chris, head lowered, deep in thought by the door. He startles when he sees me, cold mask snapping back. Thinking of how icy he looked moments ago and how soft he looks now, the contrast is something only I ever get to see. Suppressing a laugh, I greet him. Assistant Jones, do you need something? He flushes, gathers courage. Assistant Keller, are you angry? Oh, for a moment I thought he was about to confess. My bad. Still, the fact that he noticed my mood from so far away makes my heart melt. I shake my head, but disappointment flickers in his eyes. Excuse me, do you want me to be angry? Fine. If the flower won't bloom, water it. I take the initiative. Assistant Jones, are you free for dinner sometime this week? A few days later, we meet at the mall. Everything would be perfect if only the heroine wasn't here. Dear heavens, if I've committed a crime, punish me. Don't make Jason send me shopping with his wife and force Chris to chaperone us. The pink bubbles I've been daydreaming about all week burst instantly the moment he throws one sentence my way. If it's not for the extra pay, I swear I might have gone for his throat already. Chris is trailing behind us. I don't even have to look back to feel the gloomy storm cloud hovering over him. Still, he can't exactly go for his boss's throat either. Honestly, we're a pair of star-crossed.
And with that, she walks straight into a Western restaurant. Excuse me? How insulting. Truly unacceptable. If it weren't for my salary, does she think I want to be here babysitting her? This was supposed to be my sweet, two-person date with Chris. I'm just a corporate drone trying to survive. Why treat me like this? I'm furious. But since I'd like to avoid being shipped to Africa tomorrow, I swallow the anger and turn toward Chris with a little wounded expression. Chris, however, isn't bothered by Susan's words. What does bother him is that I seem upset. His mind immediately jumps to the books he's secretly been reading. If a girl is wronged, she should be comforted. Ideally, physically. A hug works best. He doesn't dare hug me here. After struggling internally for a few seconds, he reaches out and gently laces his fingers with mine. His thumb rubs light circles, like he's calming a kitten. The surprise hits me so hard, my eyes widen. My anger melts instantly, replaced with a warm, tingling heat. His palms are a bit rough, but my face is burning even more. As for Chris, poor thing, he must have gathered all his courage just to hold my hand. He quickly lets go, and the first thing he blurts out is, "Secretary Keller, let's go find the madam." Fine, since this wooden block finally made some progress, I'll forgive that line. I walk ahead with a smile, not checking if he's following, so I totally miss the goofy grin he's wearing behind me as he stares lovingly at his own hand. If I had seen that face, I would have taken a picture. Chris looks at his hand, beaming. Angela's hand is so soft. I didn't want to let go. Good thing I controlled myself. I'm not washing my hands today. Inside the office, Jason is shouting, "Let you go, Susan? You can't atone for your sins in a lifetime." "Why?" Susan cries. "I served 3 years. I have nothing left. Rachel has nothing left. She lost her life." 3 years inside is nowhere near enough, Jason says coldly. Chris and I stand outside the door in silence as the argument continues. Here's the whole story. According to Chris, Jason took Susan to a banquet. He watched, stone cold, as she was humiliated in public, enjoying every moment. When someone brought up her family, all those years of suffocated emotion finally exploded. Off to the side, Jason felt something stir inside him. Pleasure. To him, the proud Susan from years ago had finally returned. She wasn't that broken woman who used to kneel before him for every little thing. And Susan was done swallowing everything too. The moment she got back to the company, she started fighting him. Which leads us to the scene we're watching now. By the time Chris finishes explaining, my face looks like this. Jason is absolutely out of his mind. Absolutely. Once upon a time, he hated Susan's pride, thought she was too bold, too arrogant. Now he wants that same proud Susan back? He destroyed the very foundation of her pride. For real? I sneak a look at Chris, honestly worried about what years under Jason's leadership have done to his worldview. Feeling my gaze, Chris looks back. "Angela, are you scared? President Jones is very fierce. He frightened Angela." Inside, the shouting gets louder. Jason drags out the Clark parents as leverage, threatening Susan to obey. If she behaves, he'll help repay the Clark family's debts. Oh right, he bankrupted them. Wonderful man. Susan's voice suddenly quiets. Tears gather at the corners of her eyes. She had forgotten she's still the eldest daughter of the Clark family, someone who once loved the heir of the Jones family with devotion. It's just, Rachel, what a pity. It was never mutual. Now, Susan looks at Jason with fear, terror, and the faintest hint of hate. He dislikes it. He wants the old spark again. He straightens his cuffs and smirks. What's wrong, Miss Clark? Unwilling? Chris tries to stop me, but I hiss under my breath, "Don't stop me. Let me go in there and teach Jason the difference between being a person and being a dog." I grab the door handle. Chris grabs me. We both claw at each other like two idiots in a tug of war. He panics. "Angela!" My hand freezes on the door. His grip loosens, and I know he's about to bolt. So faster than lightning, I whirl around and grab him instead. It's not elegant, but hey, love doesn't wait for grace. His foot is literally suspended mid-step like a baby swan caught in a ballet move. Good thing no one else comes to the president's office. His whole cold persona would have shattered. I release him and warn, "Don't you run." He stands up straight instantly, obedient like a lamb awaiting sacrifice. Well, didn't expect that. Those puppy eyes, he's dangerous. "Angela, no, Secretary Keller," Chris stammers, hunting desperately for words. Nothing coherent comes out. I laugh. I can't help it. And when he sees me laugh, he drops the act and laughs with me. "What are you laughing at, Assistant Jones?" Smiling, I lean in closer. He's caught completely off guard. His throat bobs, his eyes go big. They're gorgeous. My gaze drifts lower. His lips are nice too. We stare at each other, breath mingling, leaning closer and closer, when Chris suddenly exhales, slips an arm around my waist, and pulls me in. His embrace is warm, almost unreal. My hand trails up his back. Nice suit fabric. Wait a second. What am I doing? Why am I admiring the suit? Chris gently strokes my hair. "Angela, I'm sorry." What is it? When he sees I'm not pushing him away, he relaxes, then blurts out completely unprompted, "Do you like it when I hold you?" Excuse me, how is a normal girl supposed to answer that? I might die from embarrassment. So I answer instantly, without hesitating, "I do." That's right, I said it, no going back. Chris loosens his hold slightly but keeps both hands on my waist. The joy in his eyes is unmistakable. "Angela," he says softly. That Angela rolls off his tongue way too smoothly. Bet he calls me that in private all the time. What a repressed little flirt. And also, why are they your reference point? We're normal. That couple is still stuck in their hell plotline. Don't watch The Boss and the Madam anymore. It'll make you unlucky. Chris nods with full seriousness. From now on, Angela will teach me how to date. Help. Who unlocked his flirt mode? Also, sir, you still haven't confessed? Planning to freeload into a relationship? Whatever. I still agree to teach him. Which means I am officially the girlfriend of Chris Jones, all-purpose assistant to CEO Jason Jones. Don't mess with me. Oh, how are the two people inside the office doing? Who cares? What matters is that Chris is practically sparkling with happiness, giggling like a fool. I'm starting to regret it. He's turned from cool and handsome to a silly puppy in 0.5 seconds. Before I can say anything, Jason's voice booms. "Secretary Keller, come in." Professional instincts kick in. I zip to the door and step inside. "President Jones, how can I help you?" Then I freeze. Susan is on the sofa, Jason's suit jacket around her shoulders, tears still clinging to her lashes. Her original clothes are on the floor. Jason is standing there with his shirt unbuttoned, scratch marks on his neck, trousers wrinkled. I don't need a manual to understand what happened. Save me. Chris and I are outside holding hands like two innocent school kids, and inside they're playing adult Olympics, quietly too, not a sound. I can't decide if I'm horrified or impressed. Still, I keep my face perfectly blank, waiting for instructions. Jason glances at Susan, smirks, and says, "Go buy the madam some clothes, and pick up contraceptives." Susan's head snaps up. Jason arches a brow. "What, Miss Clark wants to carry my child? You deserve me?" Every word is a knife to her heart. He said he'd never divorce her. He said he'd torment her forever. How could he be so cruel? Chris suddenly brings up something outrageous. If Angela gets pregnant, don't be scared. I'll take responsibility forever. I stare at him stunned. Sir, we are nowhere near that stage yet. How did the conversation even get here? But Chris is completely serious. Angela won't have to worry about work anymore. I'll work hard and support you. I've even decided our baby's name. I almost choke. Why is he so solemnly romantic about something so far away? That night, right after my shower, the doorbell rings. It's late. Who would show up now? I check the peephole. Chris. Face flushed, eyes glazed, collar slightly open, a dangerous kind of handsome. My brain short circuits. Showing up like that at midnight? Is he trying to commit a crime? I open the door and a wave of alcohol hits me. Chris gives me a silly, adorable smile. Angela, I invite him in, but he shakes his head, swaying slightly. No, I've been drinking. I don't smell good. I just wanted to see you. I'll leave right away. Absolutely not. I grab him and pull him inside. I settle him on the sofa. How much did you drink?
He thinks for a moment. Not much, so probably a lot. I sigh. This man. He came all the way here drunk just because he missed me. My heart melts. Stay here. I'll make sobering soup. He sits obediently like a schoolboy while I cook. And somehow I feel like a wife waiting for her husband to come home. The thought makes my cheeks warm. When the soup was ready, he appears behind me and takes the bowl gently. It's hot. Let me carry it. He blows on it, drinks a few sips, then licks his lips. Angela is delicious. I know he's flirting, but it works. He finishes the bowl, then another, and washes everything himself. I tease, "What did you do before when you got drunk?" He shrugs, lightly. "Usually, I just sleep through the pain. If it got bad, I'd go to the hospital." My chest tightens. This man suffered so much under Jason. He sees my expression and panics, thinking I'm angry. "Angela, I'll drink less from now on." I'm not mad, just, if you drink in the future, I'll make sobering soup for you. He immediately shakes his head. No, that'll tire you." Why is he this sweet? I hug him tightly. Let this girlfriend take care of her boyfriend. He laughs softly. He'll listen to Angela. My heart completely melts. I finally ask something I've been curious about. "Why do you like me?" Chris hesitates, then hugs me tighter. "You're the only rose in my barren world." Soon, I start bringing him lunch because he's always too busy to eat. Everyone in the office watches the once cold Assistant Jones walk in carrying a pink bento bag. Jason is fed up. "Chris, what are you eating?" "Angela cooked for me." Jason complains every day about his own wife, Susan, who barely speaks to him. Maybe out of jealousy, he drags Chris on a 1-month business trip abroad. My heart sinks. A whole month without Chris? I take him to the airport and fuss over him like a worried wife. It's cold there. Wear thicker clothes. Eat on time. Drink less. He nods at every sentence. I pout. "Don't you have anything you want to say to me?" My eyes fill with tears. What is wrong with me? Why am I so emotional? He gently wipes my tears. "Don't cry. I'll be back soon." That makes it worse. The tears fall harder. I hug him tightly, clinging to him. Jason watches us and for the first time feels something strange, then glances at Susan beside him. She stares straight ahead, expression dead. He gets angry for no reason. "Susan, while I'm away, behave. Otherwise, you know the consequences." She nods quietly, but behind her lowered eyes burns deep hatred. When the boarding call sounds, Chris kisses my forehead. I'll think of Angela every day. I cry again. Chris doesn't want to go. I don't want him to go.
When he leaves, Susan unexpectedly approaches me. "Secretary Keller, can we talk?" We walked through crowded shops to avoid Jason's spies. "I want to leave Jason," she says calmly while eating candied hawthorn. I stay quiet, eating grilled squid. She continues, "Jason is ridiculous. If anyone looked closely, they'd know that Rachel's death wasn't my fault, but he insists it was. He doesn't love me. He just wants to keep me captive." Then she suddenly runs toward a sweet potato stall. Watching her, I felt pity. Without Jason, she could be happy. She returns and hands me one. Heat warms my palm. Watching you and Chris, I finally get it. Love has to be two-sided. Running alone is too exhausting. Her eyes finally had a spark of life. "Angela, I envy you. Chris loves you so much. My first half of life is ruined. But the second half, I just want to leave Jason and live quietly." That tiny spark of hope in her eyes pricked straight into my heart like a thorn. I used to think the plot of the main leads had nothing to do with me, that their drama would play out on its own no matter what I did. But standing here now, looking at Susan, I suddenly thought, to hell with the plot. A girl like Susan, someone as bright, stubborn, and heartbreakingly loyal as her, Jason didn't deserve even a shadow of her. But Jason, dealing with him was like choosing extreme difficulty mode. "So what's your plan?" I asked quietly. "You still haven't divorced him." Susan suddenly smiled, soft, eerie, and devastating. "What if I die?" My heart lurched. "Excuse me, young lady, absolutely not." She lifted a hand calmly. "A fake death." I exhaled hard. "What do you need me to do?" She said Steve would help. She paused. "I want you to make it convincing." Steve, the second male lead in the novel, the man who helps Susan escape and ends up crippled by Jason. Another tragic soul. Out of sheer kindness, I warned her, "After you run, don't come back, ever." Maybe something in my voice struck her, because she blinked, then nodded seriously. "I won't. There's nothing here but pain for me." Then she grabbed my wrist suddenly. "Let's go. Hot Cot's on me." She dragged me off, running like a kid. Watching her bounce ahead, I realized she was still the dazzling, fearless Clark family Harris deep inside. The fake death plan would happen while Jason was abroad. I'd been helping her patch every loophole, so I had less time for Chris lately. The night he video called, I was elbows deep reviewing the escape checklist. But of course, I answered immediately. He had just showered, hair damp, bathrobe loose, collarbone peeking. "Excuse me? Why is my gentlemanly boyfriend not guarding his chastity when I'm not around?" "Angela, why didn't you call me today?" he asked, sounding faintly worried. How was I supposed to tell him, "Sorry, babe, I'm planning the perfect fake death for your boss's wife"? Never mind, I'd tell him later. I trusted him that much. I propped my chin on my hand. "I didn't want to interrupt your work." Chris blinked, still wounded. "Angela, if I don't see you for just one day, I can't concentrate at all." Sigh. He always gets me with sweet lines delivered like gospel truth. It wasn't until much later that I discovered a pink romance book hidden in his study. Turns out Jason lost to Chris simply because he refused to study. To comfort my sulking boyfriend, I leaned close to the camera, puckered up, and whispered, "Mwah." Mortifying, absolutely mortifying. "A kiss for you. I won't do it again. Forgive me, big baby Chris." Boil it up like a Christmas tree. Angela kissed me. I'm very happy. I forgive Angela. Couples are embarrassingly childish, and I live for it. Suddenly, Chris perked up. "Angela, I bought you a present today. The book says girls like gifts." Bless his soul. Ever heard of surprises, sweetheart? "When you're back," I said, "I've got a gift for you." And a grand one prepared for Jason. Everything was ready. At dawn, I slipped into actress mode. Jason's housekeeper said Madame Susan was in a terrible mood and wanted me to speak to her. I entered her room. She sat on the bed crying, then threw me meaningful glances. Right, Jason installed surveillance here. We had to stick to the script. Madame, are you feeling unwell today? I asked gently. She suddenly smiled, just a little too calmly. Secretary Keller, come shopping with me. Startling, but I nodded. She insisted on driving herself with no attendants. The bodyguards followed behind. We reached the planned location. Then she turned to me, eyes full of wild desperation. Secretary Keller, I'm sorry. My stomach dropped. Madame, wait, what are you doing? I fumbled for my phone to call Chris, but Susan jerked the wheel sharply. The car smashed through the road barrier and plunged toward the sea. Everything happened in seconds. The bodyguards had no time to stop us. Cold water swallowed the car as it sank. I held my breath, used the escape tool I'd prepared, shattered the window, and swam out. Susan had Steve's people waiting. I had only myself. By the time I reached shore, my strength was gone. Darkness took me. My last thought was, Chris is going to worry himself sick. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. Turns out, TV dramas really weren't lying. Freshly awake people really do think, water, I need water. Chris sat asleep at the bedside, clutching my hand. He looked exhausted, still wearing the warm clothes I packed, stubble shadowing his jaw. When I moved, he shot awake instantly. Angela, you're awake! His voice trembled. My chest pinched painfully. I whispered, How's Madame Susan? He didn't answer. Instead, he got up and murmured, Angela, I'll boil water for you. So the plan worked. I slipped out of bed and found him in the bathroom. His back was to me.
Just then, George arrived, with Steve right behind him. Steve marched up and punched Jason square in the jaw. Beautiful. Outstanding. I clung to Chris and pretended to be frightened while cheering internally. Jason collapsed. Steve lunged again, but the bodyguards restrained him. Jason, you devil, Steve shouted. Didn't you say if she died, you'd set off fireworks for 3 days? Acting pathetic now? She drove into the sea. She couldn't even swim. Susan couldn't swim. Jason went deathly pale. He stumbled toward Chris. Tell the rescue team, keep searching, however long it takes. Bring her back. Chris nodded. Then he picked me up and carried me away. Honestly, I wanted to stay and watch the drama until the final credits. Chris stayed silent, jaw tight. I rested my head on his shoulder. What's wrong, big baby Chris? He looked at me with an emotion I couldn't decipher, then smiled softly. I was just thinking if I were the one who couldn't find Angela right now, what would I do? I lifted a brow, amused. And what did you figure out? His arms tightened around me, his voice low and certain. I would walk straight into the sea to be with you, Angela. Fireworks burst quietly in my chest. My Chris, he would never be like them. Meanwhile, Jason kept searching for Susan day after day. Sea City was enormous, yet he believed she was still out there waiting. They found nothing, only a few unidentified bodies. I thought he'd start questioning everything soon, but President Jones lost patience. First, he warned Jason not to neglect the company, or he'd bring in his illegitimate son to compete for Jason's seat. A noble family, indeed. Chaos was the Jones family's second nature. Jason didn't care. He just kept looking for Susan. And so the illegitimate son entered the company. George tried persuading Jason. The dead don't come back, not even in death. Susan wouldn't want you living like this. If even Steve can let go, why can't you? Nonsense. Jason heard nothing. Then news came Jason had crashed his car, drunk driving. Fitting, in a tragic way. He once framed Susan with a car accident. Now he died in one. The Jones family barely flinched. Jason's mother started screaming about divorce. The illegitimate son took over Jason's place as if it had always been meant for him. George handled the entire funeral.
Born into a family like that? What a miserable fate. At last, I messaged Susan overseas. Jason is dead. She replied instantly. Heaven has eyes. Then added, I'm going to marry Steve. Excuse me? She said Steve had treated her well all along, even taking care of her health. If not for Jason, she and Steve might have been together long ago. But fate had corrected itself, and now it wasn't too late. Her soft brag annoyed me, so I huffed and said she clearly wasn't my soulmate and jumped into the sea. She asked, Has Chris proposed to you yet? Chris? He'd been busy building his own company. The illegitimate son wanted to keep him as an assistant. After all, Chris was a trained Jones family asset. But Chris said that with Jason gone, his task was finished. He could finally leave and build something of his own. Fine by me. I'd quit too. Maybe I could get a job. And anyway, who doesn't want to marry the boss? As for the proposal, Chris probably wanted the company stable first. I'd wait. Or maybe I'd go ask him myself. Of course, I didn't have that kind of courage. I'd drop hints. That evening, we had dinner together. Perfect time to nudge this slow-blooming block of wood. Chris kept putting food into my bowl. Angela, your favorite. I held the plate but didn't lift my chopsticks. Being casual, I asked, Chris, how's the company going? He paused when he noticed I wasn't eating, but answered anyway. It's on track. Angela, what if we name the company Angela? How about that? I nearly choked. With a name like that, people would think I owned it. So I teased, if it's called Angela, then the company is mine, right? He nodded without hesitation. I belong to Angela. Naturally, the company does too. His love talk kept leveling up. In a good mood, I finally took a bite. You only say sweet things. He shook his head, panicked. It's not just words, Angela. He lifted my hand to his chest. Feel it saying the same thing. Under my palm, his heartbeat thudded wildly. I couldn't help squeezing his chest. Oh my, the feel. Chris's breath hitched, ears turning bright red. Angela, don't tease me. I pulled my hand back, pretending innocence. I'd hint later. What I didn't expect was that Chris would propose. Just like that. After dinner, he drove me home. When the car stopped and I unbuckled my seatbelt, he said quietly, Angela, let's get married. Simple. Direct. I froze midway. He looked at me seriously, eyes steady. Then he pulled out a diamond ring. I bought this in Country Z. It was supposed to be your surprise. Too much has happened since then. I wanted to wait until everything was ready. But when you asked today if the company was yours, I wanted it to be yours now. He reached for a contract from the side compartment. I want to marry you. I don't want to wait another second. No fancy setup, no crowd, no kneeling, just us, shoulder to shoulder. Chris trembling, sincerity radiating from him. I glanced at the contract and smiled. So very Chris. I'll take the ring, but the contract? I don't want it. You said you're mine. That's enough. I offered my hand. His trembling fingers slid the ring on. You're not romantic at all. What if I'd said no? I tried to look annoyed, but tears already blurred my vision. Chris wiped them gently. If Angela said no, I'd keep proposing until Angela was happy. That did it. My tears fell like rain. He was always sincere, always solemn. But my big baby Chris... Looking into his eyes, I whispered, I like you so much. How could I ever say no? His face flushed, eyes wet. He lifted my hand and kissed my fingertip as if it were a priceless treasure. Thank you for entering my barren world, my one and only rose. In the company, Chris was known as the one person besides Jason no one could approach. Jason, cold face as he was, had women chasing him. Chris? People only approached him hoping to get closer to Jason. He grew used to it. People said he was emotionless, married to his work. Not wrong. His world was colorless, hollow, silent. He wasn't loyal to Jason. He was completing a mission. As for Jason's obsession with Susan, Chris never understood it. Even with no dating experience, he knew you didn't treat a girl like that. But it wasn't his concern. He was merely a spectator. The day he delivered the notice sending Susan to prison, she'd glared at him through tears. "Are you heartless too?" Was he? Probably not, but no heart had ever beaten for anyone anyway. Who would step into his barren life? Then the secretary recruitment happened. Most candidates were planted by higher-ups. Sitting at the interview table, dizzy from clouds of perfume, he stepped outside. The door barely shut when a girl bumped straight into him. A clean citrus scent filled his lungs, clearing everything. Flustered, she apologized again and again. Chris finally looked down into her eyes. Wide, nervous, beautiful. 100 times cleaner than anyone inside. Something slammed wildly inside his chest. Love at first sight. He glanced at her badge. Angela. When she entered the interview room, the deer in his chest calmed. Angela, Angela, Angela. She became the only candidate selected. When she graded him the next day, "Hello, I'm Angela, the new secretary," he fell apart inside. "Hello, Jones, Chris." He barely managed the words. Then she asked him to add her on WeChat. Of course, he didn't have WeChat. But with the speed of a dying man seeing salvation, he said, "Let's add it after work." After work, he stared at the lonely contact named Angela and smiled. He didn't know how to chase girls. He only knew he wanted to. He even spent a fortune on a book, Love Expert, 108 Things About Girls. When Angela finally agreed to be his girlfriend, the barren desert inside him grew a single rose. His only rose.